The dust settled slowly over the Hart farm as Sarah watched the Apache warrior ride away. His name was Runs Like Deer, and he had just saved everything her father owned. It had happened so quickly. One moment, Sarah was gathering firewood near the north pasture when she heard the thunder of hooves. Comanche raiders, a band of 5, swept across the open land toward their cattle. Her heart had stopped. She was alone. Her father was in town. Then, like ghosts emerging from the desert heat, Apache fighters appeared on the ridge. Runs Like Deer led them, moving with the grace of a mountain cat. The battle was fierce but brief. The Comanche fled, wounded and empty-handed. Runs Like Deer had ridden down to the farmhouse, his dark eyes meeting hers through the dust. He said nothing, only nodded, and rode back to join his men. But the gesture meant everything. That evening, her father Thomas Hart sat across from her at dinner, his weathered face more serious than usual. "That Apache warrior saved our lives today," he said quietly. "Saved our livelihood. Without those cattle, we have nothing. Come winter, we starve." Sarah nodded, pushing food around her plate. She knew all this. "In the old ways," her father continued, "a debt like that can only be repaid one way. Honor demands it." He paused, studying her face. "His people will expect it, and so will I. You protected my farm. My father says I must marry you. That's what he'll come to claim." Sarah's breath caught. "Father, you can't be serious." "I am deadly serious. He saved us, Sarah. That man could have ridden past, could have let those raiders take everything. But he didn't. He risked his life for strangers." Thomas set down his fork. "Among his people there's a code, and among decent folk there's gratitude." Sarah stood abruptly. "I don't even know him. He's Apache. We're people who would be dead or ruined without him," her father said firmly. "I've made up my mind. When he comes, you will marry him. That's final." 3 days later, Runs Like Deer came alone to the farm. Thomas welcomed him with respect, offering water and food. They sat on the porch as the sun descended, painting the sky orange and red. Sarah watched from inside, her heart pounding. When her father called her out, she felt like a condemned prisoner walking to her fate. But as she stepped into the fading light, something unexpected happened. Runs Like Deer stood and looked at her, truly looked at her, not as a prize or an obligation, but as a person. His dark eyes held questions, and something that looked almost like apology. "Your father speaks of honor and debt," he said, his English careful but clear. "Among my people, this is the way. A life saved demands repayment. A warrior who protects a family can claim one as his own." Sarah's throat was dry. "And if I don't wish to be claimed?" For the first time, something like a smile touched his face. "Then you have more courage than I gave you credit for, and more wisdom." He turned to her father. "I came because it is expected, but I will not take what is not freely given. Your daughter is not a horse or a field. She is a person with her own spirit." He paused. "Among my people, we respect such things. I protected your farm because it was right, not to own your daughter." Thomas stood, confused and impressed all at once. "Then why come at all?" "Because I had to," Runs Like Deer said simply. "To know if she would choose honor or fear. To know what kind of woman she is." He turned back to Sarah. "If you wish, you may come to my people. You will be treated as a wife, with respect. You will have shelter, family, and safety. But you must choose. I will not force what should be given freely." Sarah found her voice. "And if I choose to stay here?" "Then I will know you are braver than I am," Runs Like Deer said. "And I will ride away, knowing I repaid my debt by giving you something more valuable than obligation. I give you your freedom." Sarah looked at her father, then back at the warrior. In that moment, she realized something profound. The greatest protection Runs Like Deer could offer was not his sword, but his respect. He had saved her farm with strength. Now he was saving her soul with honor. "I need time," she said finally. "Time to know you. Time to choose." Runs Like Deer nodded. "The best things cannot be rushed. I will camp in the valley beyond your land. When you have decided, whether it takes days or seasons, you know where to find me." For the next weeks, an unexpected friendship bloomed. Runs like Deer would bring food from his hunts and help with repairs. Sarah would leave water and bread at the edge of the property. They talked across the fence line, learning each other's stories. She learned that his name came from his swiftness in battle. He had lost his first wife and child to disease. He had saved her farm because he saw in it the possibility of new life, new beginnings. He learned that Sarah had nursed her mother through illness, that she loved to read, that she dreamed of more than just surviving the frontier. Slowly, something real grew between them, not duty, but understanding, not obligation, but choice. One evening, as the sunset painted the sky in shades of amber and violet, Sarah walked into the valley where Runs like Deer waited. "I have decided," she said. He stood, his heart in his eyes. "I will marry you," she continued. "Not because my father demands it, not because you saved our farm, but because I have come to respect you, to know you, and to believe that together we might build something good." Runs like Deer stepped forward and took her hand, gently, asking permission with a gesture. "You protected my farm," Sarah said softly, echoing the words her father had spoken weeks before. "But more than that, you protected my choice. For that, I choose you." He smiled then, a real smile that transformed his entire face. "Then let us build something together," he said. "Not as conqueror and conquered, not as debt and payment, but as equals, choosing each other under the same stars." In the months that followed, Sarah learned ways of Runs like Deer's people. Some of her father's neighbors disapproved, but Thomas Hart stood by his daughter. He understood that true honor recognizes no boundary of tribe or culture. And when her first child was born, a son with his father's dark eyes and his mother's curious mind, both Apache and settler came to celebrate. For in that child, two worlds had found common ground. Sarah had come to her farm's protector expecting slavery. Instead, she had found partnership. She had expected to lose her freedom. Instead, she had found its truest expression, the freedom to choose, and having chosen, to build a life of meaning with someone who valued her not as a possession, but as an equal. And Runs like Deer, who had come seeking to repay a debt, had found something far more valuable, a woman who loved him not because she had to, but because she wanted to. The farm was protected not by walls or weapons, but by the love that grew between two people brave enough to see past their differences and choose each other.